Video 15 things you need to know about Mozambique. For everyone that has never heard of Mozambique, Mozambique is a beautiful country in southern Africa. It is like right on the Indian Ocean, and it has unspoiled beaches, indigenous nature, super yummy food. The people are still real because there's barely tourism. But before you go, I want to let you know 15 things you should know before you go to Mozambique. And here we start. So, number one, visa. I know that many nationalities need a visa for Mozambique. Also me as a German, I needed one. But for me it was quite easy because I applied at the Mozambique, like the consulate in Cape Town. And it took me a day, cost me 600 Rand and done. So I know that you can get a visa on arrival at the airport. What I wouldn't rely on is like when you cross the border by car. Like rather get your visa sorted before and check on your page like of your country if you actually need a visa. So number two, how to get there. There's different ways of how to getting to Mozambique. So there's flights from Johannesburg to Maputo, which is the capital of Mozambique. Then you can also take a bus from Johannesburg to Maputo. Like there's Intercape going, there's also the city-to-city bus going, there's also like the mini buses going, but plan a little bit of time. If you plan on going by like a rental car, you need to make sure it's a little bit difficult because like the cars to rent in Mozambique are quite expensive. Also you need to check with if you for example rent a car in South Africa and then want to cross the border to Mozambique, you need to make sure that your car rental company actually allows you to take the car to Mozambique. So please be careful with that and check on the car rental company. And one more tip, if you cross the border by rental car, please keep in mind or bear in mind that like some borders have special opening hours. So if you arrive there late, you might get stuck there for the night. Number three, how to get around in Mozambique. So we, like a friend of mine and myself, we did a road trip. So we got a rental car. You have to keep in mind that it takes you ages to get from one city to the next one because the streets are really bad. And then there's many potholes that force you to go slower. Also in the cities you can only go 60 kilometers an hour, and then like in between the cities you can only go 100 kilometers for an hour. So some distances like 150 kilometers where you think like, oh, should be quick. It took us like 3 to 4 hours, like depending on the street. So please keep that in mind when planning your next stop. And then if you don't go by rental car, you can take the CHAPAS, which are like little mini buses, but also here you need to plan like a lot of time because it's also, they go really slow. Number four, fake police officer. So I'm on a German government page, which gives you advice on traveling and safety for all the countries in the world. I read up on fake police officer. And they were saying, so they stop you quite often and then they ask for your passport and then they will only give it back to you once you bribe them, blah, blah, blah. So what I've experienced or what we've experienced is was a little bit of exaggeration. So we were like in Mozambique for about 10 days and we were only stopped once by one of those guys. What I can just advise you, don't give them money and don't give them your original documents like passports, driver license or stuff like this. We were stopped and the police officer said like we need a special like sticker for the car and stuff like this. So we just pretended like, oh, it's fine, we don't need your help, we're going to go to the next police office station, and we were just sitting in the car waiting, and then at some point he gave up and we went. So be careful with that. Don't give them like your original documents, but it's also what I said to you, like a lot of exaggerating or exaggeration, because it only happened to us once. So number 5, places to visit. We only had like 10 days. So where we stopped was Maputo, which is the capital. We stopped at Sai, which has beautiful beaches. We stopped at Topher Beach, with also like beautiful beaches, and Vilanculos, beautiful beaches as well. To like know what you can do in those cities or like in those villages, just check on my blog post. You will find like the link in the description of the video. But there's also other places to go, like Santa Carolina, which is supposed to be super beautiful, Isla de Mozambique, Ponto de Oro. And so I'm just saying, like, Mozambique is most famous for its beaches, and like the beaches are super beautiful, like definitely. So check on my blog and you find out more. So number 6, money and ATMs. So the currency in Mozambique is meticas. By the time we went there, it was a bit difficult to like withdraw big amounts of money. Like I think every time we would only receive like $60. Also, like they were super, like the people were queuing at the ATM, so it was super difficult to actually receive cash, especially like in the rural areas. So maybe either you sort out your money in like the big, like in Maputo, where you withdraw a little bit more of cash, or what we did, which is probably not the best thing to do, but then we exchanged money like in little shops, because it was actually a big problem to get money in Mozambique. Number 7, roadblocks. So there were many roadblocks on the street, like on our way up the N1. Most of the time the police would us let pass, because they realized we are tourists. What they would do, they would only stop, like most of the time they would only stop like the CHAPAS and like literally the locals with like shitty cars. So we didn't have any problem at all. Number 8, landmines. During like a civil war, there were like many landmines planted and left in Mozambique, but Mozambique declared itself landmine free in 2015. It was a bit scary, to be honest, but nothing happened. So there's no need of not going to Mozambique. So number 9, local food. You can definitely feel like the Portuguese influence in the food of Mozambique. For example, things like piri-piri chicken, piri-piri prawns, then also cassava and rice is the staple food. What you definitely have to do is like seafood. Seafood is like you have to try seafood in Mozambique, and especially if you eat like on the street, like the street food, like you can get the seafood like super cheap. Like I had like 1 kilogram of prawns, and it was prepared, like it came fresh from the ocean. It was prepared by a local lady on their braai, and I think I paid like $4. It was so yummy. So don't miss out on tasting seafood in Mozambique. Number 10, fresh fruits. Like all the way up the N1, like on our trip, you got to buy like fresh fruits and vegetables on the side of the road. So the locals sit there, and it comes fresh from the garden. I'm pretty sure there is no pesticide or something which they use. The fruits were so like delicious, so you have to buy fresh fruit and vegetables when you're in Mozambique. Number 11, Drive Moss. Drive Moss is like a Facebook group, and it is a group, like especially if you go on a road trip. It is sort of works like a walkie-talkie. So whenever you are in difficult situations, or you want to know about like different roads, and if if it's easy to pass, because it's not really easy to drive Mozambique, especially if you go somewhere else than the N1. It is you actually need a 4x4. But Drive Moss, join the group on Facebook, and like they are online 24/7, and they give you advice on like streets and roadblocks and stuff. So join the group and be up to date. Number 12, SIM card and airtime and data. Every time when I travel like a certain country, I get myself like a local SIM card and I upload some airtime and I upload some data. In Mozambique, the main provider is VODACOM, and it worked quite well. So like it's always good to have like some airtime just in case of emergency, and then also to have some data. I can really recommend that. Number 13, cashews. Mozambique is known for its delicious cashews. I've never eaten like that many cashews in my entire life. Like in some areas they even like they have it on the side of the road, like they hang on bags on the street, on the trees and stuff. The best cashews we got to buy in the Elena and Maputo area, because the further north you go, like the quality wasn't that good. But I can just encourage you, get cashews. Like I had like a bag like this, sort of like, it took me 2 days and it was finished because it was so yummy, especially the roasted ones. I loved it. Number 14, best time to travel. So what I found, like from June to September is the best time to travel Mozambique. So we traveled Mozambique in August, which was perfect because the average temperature was like 25 degrees. There was no humidity at all. Also like for that kind of season, you barely have tourists, you barely have mosquitoes, because mosquitoes, like unfortunately malaria is also like an issue. So you definitely need to get malaria precaution and you need to spray yourself. But June to September is for me like is the best time to travel. The weather was perfect. So the further like let's say you would go in November, December, then it's really humid, it's super hot. And then also in December there's so many South Africans coming there. So like literally Mozambique is flooded by South Africans because this is their like holiday season and everyone goes to Mozambique. So June to September. So, and last but not least, number 15, the language. Portuguese is spoken by most of the people because it used to be a Portuguese colony. And then, but you can still find other languages like Chichewa, which is the most common language in Malawi, where I also have a video. Check my videos, how to speak Chichewa for the most common phrases and words if you want to travel Malawi. But also we didn't have any problem like with English. Almost, not almost everyone, but like many people speak English. So also when you only speak English, it's perfect, it's fine, no worries. Yeah, and that's it. That's basically what you need to know before you travel Mozambique. I can just encourage you, like, travel to Mozambique. It is such an amazing country. Like I loved Mozambique. I love the beaches, like the unspoiled beaches, the indigenous nature, like the locals who are so friendly. Also check on my posts where you can find more information. The link you're going to find in the description of the video. I hope you liked my video. Please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and then also to subscribe to my channel. And yeah, I see you soon. Bye bye.